Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, dear Dharma friends, when we look at our human existence, the history of this human life, and you say the whatever 100 years back, whatever people used to do, it is, even though we do same kind of things, it's completely different. And so it kind of like a more advanced and more accurate, and we understand more and better ways, and we use a lot of machines and technology to make things happen, and we get quite good result out of it. And as example, one thing is the weather, how people able to understand the nature and the weather circle and how they face for that. It is very successful. And other thing is that when it comes to this physical body, look like 20 years back, how people used to do exercise. But if you look today, how they do the exercise, and within very short time period, they get better result. And 20 years back, if you look, they have to work out 6 months to lose kind of like a certain amount of weight. But today, within 1 month and doing different kind of exercise, and you gain the same result, and within more shorter time period. And if you look at the music, and it is completely different now. So 10, 11 people need a kind of like a band to give kind of like a with the different instrument to play a song. But today, one person with this all the things that he play that all the things. And there are some people and gain some kind of that the success out of it. So when it come to medicine, and so in that level, in few years back, people used to go through different methods to get into a certain kind of result. But today it's not like that. It's very easy. As example, some operations. 10 years back, when you go and did that operation, you have to stay at least few weeks lying down on the bed. You cannot move. But now it's not like that. Within few days, you come home. Even that delivering a baby, 10, 20 years back, you cannot go like that way. Mother cannot go home like that way from hospital. Has to stay a few days, few weeks. But not today, it's not like that. See how it developed like that way. It is no one can stop it. That is always going to happen with this human mind. So in the meditation also the same. So you also have a better opportunity than our ancestors. So this is your time. Then losing that opportunity, try to get the best out of it, because you are part of this human evolution. And you are part of it. You have to understand your mind means, your life means it. You are not alone. You are not a separate entity. So whatever the human behavior, as example, after 1980, so the children who again, we call it millennials. So this millennials, their behavior completely different. So then whoever came after 1980, so that children is not a separate entity. They are part of that entire this human civilization. So same like you, if you look very carefully, deeper inside you, there is a kind of like a, that good opportunity that you have. By nature, gave it as a gift. So, as example, 20 years back or 50 years back, whoever used to practice meditation and attain to tranquility state, if they use kind of like a 1 hour, but if you do it today very clearly with the clear intention, and within maybe half an hour you get that whoever got the result 50 years back, you get within half an hour. They spend 1 hour. So this is a kind of the very nature of very that the behavior of this entire universe. So then you have to get that opportunity. And that is what that make you more stronger with the practice. So it can happen, it can go to many different ways. See how the drugs develop, and that the people get drugs to use, get high, like heroin, marijuana. Now that I saw one article, now they have some drugs. You cannot imagine even that it is, you cannot measure how it kind of like, there are some drugs you can get it only one time in your life. It destroy entire, it's kind of like a cyber attack. It destroy your entire nerve system. Anymore you are not a human being, you become a zombie, or you become kind of like a dumb person. That much it be. So I was thinking when I read that, people able to develop that kind of things, why is still that people cannot find a way? Because this, to go into the other side of the human life, why people so struggling to walk in this path of the wisdom, or path of this goodness, compassion, how difficult it is. So then you have to remember, then you have opportunity, and deeper level there is a gift. So they have some skill to increase that power, and you also have a kind of like a skill. If you really point out yourself, you no need to waste your time. Like see how the transport systems become development. The like 100 years back, to travel from one place to one place, how long it took. But today it's very easy. One person, when kind of like they have the breakfast in New York and they go for lunch London. So like that, it became so fast. So there is something inherent as a gift. You have opportunity to get this, the mental development faster than any other time in the human history. So try to catch it, try to think about it, try to pinpoint it and use that, and you will see. Because we use it for other things. We use it for communication, we use it for entertainment, and we use it for transportation, we use it for pharmaceutical industry. So we use it for everything. For mind also the same thing. So then remember about it, and remember you are in a very good timeline, and get the best out of this time period. So with that, today I'm going to talk about the faith. This faith is kind of like uh, the faith is mostly kind of like lead us to become refuge, get refuge regarding the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. So why we get refuge? That all the time, like whatever the really, it's kind of like a part of the culture now. And to become Buddhist, and even whatever the other religions, they are according to them that you have to get refuge. So especially in the Buddha's teaching, the mostly people get refuge. And the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Why we get refuge? And in Pali, Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. So Gacchami is a meaning I go. So I myself, I go. So that is kind of like a big statement. When you do something, if somebody say, okay, I'll take it, I'll take care of it, it's a kind of like a, that person take some responsibility. So then when you say Buddhang Saranang Gacchami means, I myself, I go. So then you have to look, I refuge the Buddha. I refuge the Dhamma or the Sangha, myself. It is one kind of, that risky, big statement. And sometimes we don't think about it. And once you take it, and you get out of a lot of things. One thing is the most difficult barriers in the path of the truth. Remember, our culture, our language, our traditions, sometimes our religion came out of not the truth or the teachings, but out of the believing. So there is even in the Buddhist, all the cult, all the religions you see this part, there is a teaching part, there is a truth, really exists with the truth, but there is completely different method of religion came not with the teachings, but with the kind of like ideas, culture, tradition mixed with that. And that also kind of like become a barrier, go to the truth. So then in itself, when we, even though we look for truth, and as example, that so you look for the truth, or you look for the Dhamma, and you look for wisdom, the plain raw level of organic wisdom, the truth, that's it. You don't look for anything else. So that's why this Dharma, or this everything, this samsara is kind of like a placebo effect. Like you see it, you feel it, but it is not there. There's nothing. It's really like a placebo effect. That's the real word for the samsara. This exists, this life. And in this placebo effect, we experience this everything. And the culture, tradition, believing system, word, the language, everything, hold the truth, cover the truth. And we then, in this placebo effect of the life, look, I really mean it. You have to look yourself, what you experience. Is this real, or the moment what you experience? Then later, what is happening? Are you really get something out of it, or it just become a dream? And you feel it is there, but it is not there. You see it, but it is empty. So, but the culture and the tradition not allow you to get into that level. So the culture, tradition, believing system put you to the something. So when you get into the refuge, so even that now you have the idea to find the truth. And now the culture or the tradition say, okay, you have to get the refuge. Otherwise you cannot. So as example, become a Buddhist, you have to get refuge. And that person, that he look for the truth, and then looking for truth, but in the first level, he have to get into the barrier of the culture and accept the refuge. So the getting refuge and accepting refuge and following refuge, the you become a refuge to the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. If you feel yourself, it is good. But my point here, if you take it, if it is necessary to become a part of the culture, you missing the first point, that what you really look for. So like that, and sometimes and we follow the culture, tradition, that's why all the time, whatever the Buddhist festival, the religious activities are, everybody start to get refuge. Why? Because that is the tradition. If anybody starts something without getting, precepts or the follow, if we they don't follow the the refuge to the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, then it become a problem. So that is a part of the culture. See, the part of the culture become a barrier even when you go towards the truth. But somehow to break down that, the mostly in today when it come to this, when as example you are a newly, very fresh, newly born person to look for truth, and then you come to the path of this wisdom, and then you look everywhere, then you see religion, labels, culture, tradition, language, believing, following, and becoming a part of the Sangha. And so you see all this, and now you look for truth, but you have no idea about this anything. And in that very moment, sometimes you have to get into the part of the culture or the tradition or the believing system or the language, but to break this all the barriers, when you take the refuge to the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, that break down all the barriers, that when you have go that towards the truth. So when you are new person and when you have idea to look for the truth, remember the culture, tradition, the believing, language, or this lot of things, hindrance, whole the everywhere you have to go through this. It is very difficult. But when you really with the very clear mind take the refuge to the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, no culture, language, barrier, and nothing can stop you. That is the power of getting refuge to the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. Another thing is that even when it comes to the truth, there are certain things. The one is the fear. In this very lifetime that we all have fear. All the living beings have one common thing, is the fear. So we do a lot of things to get out of the fear. We put gate, lock, and the lights in the walls, ceiling, and there are a lot of things we do because of the fear. And even the schooling, going for work, and then doing job, earning money, saving. There are a lot of, you don't believe, it's 90% of our life pushed by the fear. Another thing is, when you accept the refuge, and when you go to the refuge towards the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, you get out of that fear. So that is one. That is the second thing. The first thing, when you get when you get the refuge toward the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, when you accept it yourself, the very first thing, the culture, language, or the tradition, the believing, even the religious barriers, that everything disappear. No one can hold. That is the power of it. It's kind of like you have a statement. I take care of it. I take care of it. I go for it. Not anybody. You don't look for anything. So when you say Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, I go for it. And in that very moment, that all other hindrance, difficulties disappear. So then the other thing is the fear. It takes you out of the fear. And once you take out of the fear, and other thing is, then you go to the next level of refuge. That is admiration, appreciation. So the appreciation regarding what? So the appreciation regarding that yourself and respect yourself. So you take the refuge to get out of the fear and get out of the barriers. Another thing is, it go little higher, and then as a respect towards you and towards the Buddha, as the respect towards the Dhamma, towards you, as the respect towards the Sangha and towards yourself, and you take refuge. So that is the next level. But in the first level, that it clean the barriers, all the culture, tradition, and so that is the good thing, because there are a lot of hierarchy in this everywhere. You have to go you have to talk to the boss, otherwise you cannot get into the gate. So like that all the gates you can open if you have contact to the boss. So like this. Then there are some temples. Even you have you wearing white, you have the flowers, you have the great, respect. But to open the door, you have to have contacts. Otherwise, outside the shrine room, maybe, outside the temple or somewhere, it may be, the lower level of a place, you have to put the flowers and say, like, there are many places like that. So, but when you have the faith that no one permission, you no need for that anything. That doesn't mean that gate not going to open you when you go there. It's not going to happen. But in your heart, there is a deeper connection you build that no one can see, or no any gates can close that. That is the power of big, that the taking refuge. And the fear, and then in conventional life, how much the fear that we have. So that fear, and you get out of it. And the respect, aspiration, that yourself, you respect. There are a lot of things you do respecting to you. And other thing is, following the Buddha, following the Dhamma, following the Sangha is kind of like a, best thing that you can do, even as just an idea. Just look at the world. Can you refer, somebody, okay, follow this person, be like this person. Look at all the leaders, people, how they behave. There was a time in the history, still, people like to follow, Abraham Lincoln. Martin Luther King, people like to follow, their ideas still, in the world. Mahatma Gandhi, you know, Nelson Mandela. There are people used to be like. So look in 2020, is there any character as parents that you can show them? Is there any live, character tell become like that? You know, can you tell you have to be like that? No. And in that time, when that time that when the leaders talk, everybody, come to the TV and come to the radio and listening and no stop all the work, everything. They are listening to them. But today, when the leaders talk, everybody shut down the TV, radio, turn off everything. So then, look, it's respecting to yourself when you say Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami. Why? Because there is no in conventional level even to follow somebody. So you respect into yourself. Another thing is, it is the kind of like respecting to the Buddhahood, the Dhamma or the truth, or the Sangha, whoever follow the truth. Another thing is the fourth level is the compassion. The best thing that you can do to yourself is get out of this placebo effect, mirage, illusion. This rainbow colored, this life. Get out of it. That is the best that you can do. You're not going to suffer anymore in life. No one can, no one can hurt you. No one can mean to you. So that's the best thing that you can do to yourself. Then when it come to the refuge in the fourth level, you have the compassion towards yourself. Why? Because that is the best that you can do, rather than abusing, putting your life to unnecessary risk, that you get out of it. But the risk is more difficult, and the fear, even that the fear is there in this spiritual path also. Look, people have fear for samsara. People have fear for the conventional life, and the people have fear for samsara. And because of that, people do a lot of things. And because of that, sometimes people take refuge. And also, people have fear for nibbana. People don't want to get out of this. Some people are afraid if they get attain to enlightenment. They don't want to do that. They like to hold it to this and enjoy this placebo effect. They're afraid if they disappear. See, we have the fear for conventional life. We have fear for the samsara. We have fear for the nibbana also. But get out of this all the fear and doing the real respect to yourself. And also, if you have the real compassion toward yourself, the very best thing that you can do is refuge to the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And that way, and no any hindrance, no any barriers, no any person can block your journey, especially in the spiritual path. Remember, going towards the truth is the one of the dangerous path you take. It is very, very dangerous. Look at even in conventionally, look at the good people in the human history. Most of the people who ever done something good for humanity, killed by somebody. That is how it is. So then you remember, when you take the path of the truth, it is very risky. So then in that path, you cannot take weapons, you cannot take any other tools, you cannot do it. So then what you have to do? The very best defense system that you have, take refuge towards the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And because the most of the people, and they hold they hold the power, and they have the hierarchy system themselves to and hold that all the material world. In the maybe Tripitaka in one library, then how about the if somebody very mean or ignorant person have the key for that cupboard, you cannot get it. But when you have the faith towards the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, and when you take the refuge with the very clear mind looking for truth, that's it, nothing else. To your liberation, that is it. With that, when you take refuge towards the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, remember this all the demons in the universe. There is a sutta called Tajagga. In that suttas, that all the reference, wherever in this universe, whatever the fear come to you. But if you take the refuge toward the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, no any demons can play with you. It's not going to happen. No any human can stop foot and the barriers in your journey. Even in the samsara, there is no any fear going to behind you. It's somehow the worldly condition somehow going to be here, but in that worldly condition, you find your destination. So that's why remember whenever you have time, not because of the fear, not because of any other things, not because of the culture, not because of the tradition, not because of to impress other people, make other people happy, not because of that, just for your own liberation, just to get out of your own this placebo effect, just to get out of this, rainbow colored life. Just you take the refuge, you will see, you're going to get the result. So in your journey of this life, having that for yourself is the best that you can do to yourself. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbhityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava. Ittavata cha me sampadang punya sampadang sabbe devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahannotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu.